All right, so here we have an expression. It's 2 over 5 minus the square root of 6. So in order to simplify this expression, we're going to have to rationalize the denominator, 5 minus the square root of 6, by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by its conjugate, which is basically just the opposite. So instead of 5 minus the square root of 6, our conjugate would be 5 plus the square root of 6, and I'll show you how we can do that. So we're just going to multiply once again by our conjugate, and I'm going to put that in parentheses. So 5 plus the square root of 6 and I'll do that over here because what we do to the top, we got to do to the bottom. All right, so once we do that, if I have space, let's see. Yeah, I think I do. If we do that, when we solve, and we'll start with the top, so 2 times 5 plus the square root of 6. So I want us to understand that each term in this expression that I have in the parentheses, they're 2 separate terms. So we have 5, and then we have our positive radical 6. So our 5 and our square root of 6. So we're doing 2 times 5 first. You can almost think about this as like distributing the 2. So we're distributing the 2 to the 5 first. So 2 times 5, we know is 10. So we'll write the 10 right here. And then we have this plus sign, which we can just go ahead and include. So we did 2 times 5, and then we see this plus sign, which I'll go ahead and just, this addition sign, which I'll go ahead and just include. And then we'll distribute this 2 to the radical 6. So we can't just do, when we do that, we can't just do, okay, so 2 times radical 6 isn't just the square root of 12. It's actually just going to be 2 times the square root of radical 6. So we'd write that as 2 times the square root of 6. I think I said 2 times the square root of radical 6. It's just 2 times square root of 6. So hopefully that wasn't confusing, but that is how we would simplify our numerator when we're multiplying this by 2. Now, when we look at our denominator, 5 minus the square root of 6 times 5 plus the square root of 6. So again, we have 2 separate terms on both sides that we are multiplying. And so we kind of want to take that same approach and think of it as if we're distributing. 5 times 5, is 25. Okay, so like I was saying, we have 5 times 5, which is 25. Then we're going to look at, and we can't forget our operation. So in this expression, we have a minus sign, but in this expression, we have an addition sign. So it's technically negative square root of 6 times a positive square root of 6. But so we know that that's going to have a minus sign over here because a negative times a positive is always a negative. We have that. And then we know that when we multiply a square root by itself with the same number underneath, so square root of 6 times the square root of 6 is just 6. And I'll show you the reasoning behind that. And that applies to any number. If it was the square root of 4 times the square root of 4, that would just be 4. Or the square root of 5 times the square root of 5, that would just be 5. But I'll show you the reasoning behind that in relation to the square root of 6 specifically. So if we have the square root of 6 times the square root of 6, we could just write that as the square root of 36. And then we know the square root of 36 is 6. And so if we look at, again, since that applies to all numbers, if we look at, let's say, 3, for instance, the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is just 3, but it's just 3 because the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 would be the square root of 9, and the square root of 9 is 3. And so there's the reasoning behind that, but I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And we can resume to this expression over here. So we have 10 plus 2 times the square root of 6 over 25 minus 6. So there's not really much we can do up here in our numerator to simplify, but we can simplify our denominator because we have 25 minus 6. So we can just solve that. We know that 25 minus 6 is 19. So we do 10 plus 2 square root of 6 over 19. And that is our final answer. I'll circle that in green. And that's how you would evaluate this expression up here, 2 over 5 minus the square root of 6. Again, just remember with a lot of problems like this, all we're doing is multiplying by the conjugate and basically just evaluating going from there. And always remember to simplify after this step. And once you've done that, you'll get to hopefully a good, accurate answer. I hope that this helped, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye, and thanks for watching.
Wait, before you leave, go ahead and check out these lessons up above. You can watch this lesson, or you can watch that one, or you can watch both. Oh, and while you're at it, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can do so by clicking out of this video and hitting the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Bye.